Hello, old man Steve here, and I'm talking about doing my oral history of the Brill Building in New York City when I worked there in the 1960s. This is part two, so be sure and watch part one to get caught up. The Brill Building was at 1619 Broadway in New York City, and it was it is historical because it was uh, considered part of what was left of TinPan Alley, which uh, had all musical offices, publishers, singers, songwriters. All the offices were occupied by people like that, and we were on the penthouse floor. And in my last segment, I was talking about Tony Orlando, and I want to correct something I said. I don't believe he was a writer. I think he was just a performer. We would do demo records, and he was the singer on the demo, or one of the singers of songs that they would uh, do and send to recording artists and to see if if they wanted to record it. And one of the things was the Elvis Presley music. All the songs were written in New York. When they did a movie, they would send a script to New York, and from the script they would write the songs and then do a demo of them. And Tony was one of the singers, and they would send that back to Hollywood, and then they would select the songs that they liked the best to put in the movie for Elvis to sing. Um, and I never met Elvis, but I did meet the Colonel, Tom Parker. He came to the offices several times, and I even talked to him on the phone. And the way I talked to him on the phone was that our switchboard operator, uh, this older lady that ran the switchboard on her lunch breaks and her coffee breaks, I became the relief. She taught me how to watch the switchboard, and usually during lunchtime it was dead. There wasn't very much action, but a lot of times somebody would call in. I'd have to switch the call in to one of the bosses' office. So I did talk to the colonel a couple of times by being on the switchboard. And one time he asked me who I was and why I was answering the phone, and I told him. Another time I was on the switchboard, there was a rock group from Britain called the Animals, and they came into our offices. They were around the same time, I think, as the Beatles. Uh, and when they came in, they told me, they said the Animals were here, and I looked around. I didn't see no animals. I didn't know who they were. They thought I was crazy. But anyway, my bosses were uh, the two brothers that owned the company, Gene and Julian Aberbach. They were from Austria, and they both had very thick accents. And Julian was later became my personal boss because the guy that ran his errands, and he had a lot of errands, uh, quit. And so I took over his duties. And when Julian found out that I lived just a block and a half from his apartment building in New York City, well, that was it. He lived in this big. He had the whole floor of this huge office, apartment building, and the same building that Steve and Edie Gourmet lived in. And I don't know, a lot of those buildings have names, but I don't remember if this one had a name. It was, I think, at 86th Street in Central Park West, or 85th Street, because I lived on 87th Street. Uh, so in the morning, part of my job was to go by his apartment and get his attaché case and take it to work and put it on his desk because he didn't like to carry it. And it was very light. There was nothing in it because I opened it one time. There was nothing in it, but he didn't like to carry it. So I would have to go by and pick it up in the morning and take it to work and put it on his desk. That became my part of my job. And his wife was French. She was from France, and she spoke very little English. I think you never know. I don't know how much she spoke, but they had a house out in the Hamptons, and one time I had to take their car, drive it from New York City out to the Hamptons because she was out there. It was during the summer, and I asked if I could take a friend, and they said yes. So I took a friend of mine and we drove out, and she served us lunch out on the Lanai. We had little sandwiches, and then she took us to the train station, and we took the train back into the city. So that was fun. So I had to do things like that, and um, I became his personal errand boy, besides all of the stuff I had to do in the office. But that's a whole other story, and this is the end of part 2 because I don't want to make them too long. So I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.